Hello everybody, this is Leonora and thank you for stopping by. This is January of 2018, just after the new moon, and I wanted to stop by and say a few things. Make sure if you like what I'm talking about here or doing here on this channel that you subscribe below. You can always follow Elemental Inspirations on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, and you can follow me on Twitter at Lee Perry. So, going into this year, I wanted to just stop in and just say one or two things like I said. Make sure our aspects for this year have to do something along with the aspects of excelling, expanding, manifestation, setting up sacred space, working with frequency, and learning something new about yourself. These are all things as we go forward that could turn into many lessons, many adventures, many new things. But if we don't sometimes manifest or goal orient that we are going to do these things, sometimes it just gets lost in the chaotic muddleness of the other things that we have going on. So, expanding. If we are going on trips, hiking, meditating, like out in the woods or doing something different in that sense, picking up a book, taking a class, excelling yourself in like a hobby that you already have or getting into one that you've always wanted to do. These are things that sometimes we have on our list of wants and wishes and to-dos, and we don't always put that out there. We need to be expanding. We need to be excelling. We need to be putting out these aspects to like go forward and raise up and ascend and go higher. Anytime we're not reading a book or taking in new thought processes and we're not just droning out in science fiction or fables or fiction in itself, a lot of the times we're not expanding ourselves the way we need to. Those things are great too, and they're part of the expansion. Sometimes we just need to let our minds go, do a puzzle, watch a movie potentially, or read a fiction novel. But make sure that we have multiple things and multiple avenues, and we're not just streaming towards the same thing at every moment, at every thought, and at every place. When we allow some space for us to be a space that is sacred, that is calming, soothing, motivating, not just the shower, not just your bed, or not whatever you kind of associate that with. So for some people, I can imagine driving in the car. Having a spot where you always meditate or you always do your ritual, so having your altar space, having your meditation space, whether it's a traveling altar that you have that you wear around your neck, or it's something that you actually have a table set up for with candles and incense and your malas or your sacred geometry or your deity statuary or whatever you have in that space. It is time to refresh, reorganize, dedicate, rededicate, and set these things up if they're not set up. Why not have a space or a cloak or a robe or something that you wear and that can create or help harmonize that avenue? Residual energy is very important, almost like routine. Maybe for some people could relate to that, but residual energy is if you go to the same spot and meditate every single time, or you wear the same cloak or robe, or wear the same jewelry piece, or have the same table that you go to every single time. It builds a drop of your energy over and over and over and over until that tool, that piece of clothing, that space recognizes your intention there. You have people that say like synagogues, temples, holy spaces. A lot of those spaces, whether it is because of other reasons or not, have that residual energy built up into that space. So when people go there, when people interact with those spaces, it's easier, faster, quicker to tap into that. We want that each in our own space. So make sure to put some time and energy into creating, dedicating, manifesting, re-putting that space out there, finding some place in your life where you can have these tools for that. And frequency. Whether it is music, playing music, listening to music, whether it's drumming, playing spoons, playing fadeaways, using singing bowls, using guitars, using tambourines, clapping your hands, everything creates a frequency and a sound. And when we use that to create empowerment, just as simple as that, a lot of the times, like stronger frequencies, heavier frequencies can help us make those changes, make those shifts, do the things that we're wanting to. Life is so transformative and changing, and even if we feel like things are the same, there's always a relative something that you can find that's different on one level or not. And we need to shape and form and take control of that. Manifestations. We can take our world and put little stepping stone cobblestones out in front of us that we have to do this to get here to do this. And that's great to have an idea of a plan of action that you need to do something, because that is very instructive and helpful. But sometimes that programming of using goals gets so restricting for certain mindsets and for certain potential people who are so in routines that they can't step outside of that to realize it is good to see point A and point Z. And it is good to see point A, B, C, D, E into that whole avenue. But you have to realize that you have the power to get there even if you don't take each one of those steps in order. If you put a goal in front of you that's going to take 10 years to do it, it may take 10 years to do it. If you don't manifest that you want this to happen now, that you are willing to do whatever it needs to take, that you are willing to go to school twice as hard, that you are willing to have 3 jobs, that you are willing to do so much. A lot of the times we're willing to struggle and not for this thing, but we're not willing to struggle and not as hard for this thing. We need to realize that no matter what it is, we want to manifest it being here today. We want to manifest these happening right now. And we understand what we are going to work at and do in order to get those things done. But that you're not looking just to take these little things and this year you only need to grow this much, because that's what your goal aspect says. So keep that in mind as we're going forward. The manifestations work hand in hand with knowledge and hard work. And if we're excelling and manifesting and motivating and doing all these other avenues, the things that we want will come to us. Make sure that you're not shutting yourself off to stuff that you don't know. That you're not oh, I'm not into this, I don't understand that. That's what these kind of people do. Grow yourself and learn about new things. The people around you are into something, and I don't want to limit what that is. But you have people around you that are into meditation and you're not. Maybe you should kind of look into that and just even know what it is and what it's all about. If you have people that are into you that are into sports and you don't really do sports, maybe you should look into what people are calling sports and why they're into it. And people like to read and you don't. Try the on tape, try the podcast, try all sorts of stuff. There are so many things, including kind of more mundane things like stocks and bonds, and you don't know very much about it, but you keep hearing about it. People keep telling you to save up for retirement, and you don't know why. People are talking about buying property and buying a house, and you don't really understand why that's a big thing and whatnot. You pay rent, and people don't understand why you pay rent and they bought. So get into other mentalities and understand why these other avenues and these other frequencies are things that are impacting us and that we're being exposed to. Don't just keep staying in obliviousness. Don't just keep staying happy and content in that modality of being in your world and your focus and your frequency. Because the more we stay like that, the more we're shutting off other messages, other experiences, other modalities. People want community, but then they shut out the community that potentially is there around them. They want to go out and interact, but you can only say certain things to certain people at certain points, or you're going to get offended by every other little thing. We have to realize that if we want this, then we have to really be open to this, and not this, and not this, and not this, and not this. So that doesn't mean you have to take these things in and take them and make it yours. That doesn't mean you have to take these things in and start doing them or practicing them. But there is value in knowledge, and there is value in growth, and there is value in understanding what these other energies and frequencies around you are, and whether or not you're just numbing yourself to them and you just don't know, or you're actually understand something about those things and the way to interact with those avenues. So this is just a little tidbit kind of thing going into this year. Something that is going to be great for almost any avenue of expansion or practicing. But here going into right now, there are 2 full moons this month, one which we already experienced and one coming up on the 31st. There will be no full moons in February of 2018, and we'll have 2 full moons at the beginning and end of March. This won't be the last time we have this, but this was a great year coming into 2018 to culminate and grow and experience putting those things out there and really incorporating those into your motivations, your manifestations, the modalities that you want to grow and create. This is always a pleasure to talk and relate to you. I hope these messages and ideas go to the people who really need them most and really find them useful. As we all go forward, I hope the best to us all. Have a great year, everybody. Blessed be. This is Leonora, and we'll talk to you soon.